welcome back to the garage, gang. Time for another token teardown. If you're new here, let me break it down. A teardown is where we roll a crypto project into the bay, put it on the lift, and check every nut, bolt, and weld. We don't just look at the shiny paint job, we make sure there's real horsepower under the hood. Today, the project on the lift is Pendle, ticker Pendle. Not a chain, not a meme coin, but a protocol built for one mission, making yield itself tradable. And yes, don't worry, we'll get to the part everyone loves. We'll talk money and price predictions, because that's always the favorite lap around the track. So before we drop this bad boy into gear, do me a favor. Smash that like, hit follow, and share this. Send it to your buddy at work who just put his house payment into Peppy, or that uncle who still calls it the Bitcoin. In this garage, we make it clear enough that anyone can follow along. And the pit crew? These aren't anonymous avatars wrenching in the shadows. Tien Lee, the driver. He co-founded Kyber Network, one of DeFi's earliest dexes. He saw firsthand how projects rocket up and how they can stall if the design can't hold the track. That discipline carried into Pendle. Vu Nguyen, the engineer, former CTO of Digix DAO, an early Ethereum gold tokenization project. He's the wiring diagram brain, the guy who can strip down a gearbox and rebuild it stronger. Because at the end of the day, we're here to answer one question. Is Pendle a Grand National GNX, a sleeper car with a turbo V6 that eats Corvettes for breakfast, or just another Buick with fake hood scoops and no horsepower? Let's find out. Anton Buena Vista, Ecosystem Growth, another Kyber vet. He's the paddock boss, waving in partners and making sure Pendle gets a spot in every DeFi circuit. Ken Chia, Institutional BD, the deal maker. He brings in funds, DAOs, and TradFi desks, lining up heavyweight support. Now let's address the elephant in the room. V1. Pendle launched in 2021 with a design that, frankly, was too clunky. Every maturity date had its own pool, liquidity was split, and new users were left scratching their heads. Add in a bear market where yields were collapsing, and Pendle V1 sputtered in the pits. But here's where the crew proved themselves. They didn't junk the car, they rebuilt it. By late 2022, Pendle V2 rolled out with a completely redesigned engine, a custom AMM, tuned specifically for yield trading. That was the turning point. What looked like a failed prototype became a lean yield machine. So what's under the hood? Pendle isn't its own blockchain. It's a protocol deployed on Ethereum, Arbitrum, Optimism, BNB chain, Base, and Mantle. Instead of paving new roads, Pendle lays down better racing lines on highways that already exist. At the center of it all is an AMM, automated market maker. Think of it as a self-shifting gearbox for trading. Instead of buyers and sellers shouting prices in an order book, an AMM uses pools of tokens and a formula. Add one token, get the other out. The ratio shifts automatically. Liquidity providers put their assets in and earn fees every time someone swaps. Pendle's twist? It doesn't just trade ETH for USDC. It splits yield-bearing assets into principal tokens and yield tokens. The PT is the chassis, the base value. The YT is the turbo, the future yield. Sell the turbo, and you lock in fixed returns like a bond. Buy the turbo, and your betting yields will roar higher. Tokenomics fuel system? Max supply 251 million. About 170 million circulate today, with all team and investor unlocks finished in 2023. Emissions taper weekly until they hit around 2% inflation after 2026. And more than 37% of supply is locked in vPendle, earning 80% of trading fees in ETH plus boosted rewards. The ecosystem torque is real. Ethena hedges nearly half its TVL with Pendle. Morpho accepts Pendle tokens as collateral. Libra, Aura, DeFi Saver, Hyperliquid, all plugged in. And with Binance and Coinbase listings, Pendle has become the pit lane where serious DeFi yield strategies are tuned. Now let's run it down the straightaway. Pendle doesn't measure speed in TPS like Solana or ICP. Its horsepower shows up in billions of dollars of yield trades and more than $4 million in monthly protocol fees. That's torque you can actually feel. Version 2 gave Pendle the right gearbox. Version 3, Boros, strapped on nitrous by turning perpetual funding rates into tradable yield. That's a $150 billion a day market opened up to DeFi. And here's where I know some of you are thinking, I get it, but what is LSDFi? I can even see your grandmother back there listening, wondering what on earth we're talking about. Well, here it is. LSDFi Summer was the season in 2023 when Ethereum staking withdrawals went live. Tokens like STETH and RETH let you keep earning staking rewards while still using your coins in DeFi. It's like baking cookies, but still using the oven at the same time. Suddenly, those staking tokens weren't just parked, they became hot rods. Protocols popped up to let people borrow against them, boost their yields, and trade the interest. That wave was LSDFi Summer. Pendle became the custom shop of that summer. While most people just held their staking tokens, Pendle let you lock in fixed returns, speculate on yields, or supercharge your income. It turned a passive car into a tuned race machine. Now, let's talk money. Lulu scenarios in a $20 trillion crypto market. Cruise control. Pendle keeps its current lane. Market cap around $4 billion. Token near $20. Reliable lap? Nothing fancy. 1% dominance. Pendle captures a bigger slice. Market cap around $12 billion. Token between $50 and $60. That's Pendle becoming the Aave of fixed yield. Moonshot. Pendle becomes the fixed income exchange of DeFi. Trillions in TVL. Institutions piling in. Market cap north of $100 billion. Token breaking into triple digits. That's the GNX on nitrous, leaving Ferraris in the dust. In this garage, we don't just show you the shiny paint job, we show you the other side of the coin, the black swan. What happens if the unexpected hits? If regulators decide yield trading looks too much like swaps? Or if DeFi yields collapse back to zero? Pendle could skid hard, drifting back to a $1 to $2 billion market cap, with the token trading in the $5 to $10 range. We've seen fast cars blow engines before, and crypto is no different. That's why we always run the numbers on the dark side of the track. But we also balance that with the dyno test. Here's Pendle's scorecard. Tech stack 9, custom AMM, yield tokenization, multi-chain, no exploits. Founders and crew 8, veterans, public, steady. Token fuel system 8, the Pendle locks incentives, inflation tapering. Product delivery 10, live, $9 billion plus TVL. Boros launched, Citadel's on deck. Community horsepower 8, 150,000 followers, 4,000 lockers, frog memes included. Narrative RPM 9, LSDFi, RWAs, TradFi expansion. Regulatory build code, offshore shield, derivative spotlight risk. Adoption mileage 9, tens of thousands of users, $4 million monthly fees. Alpha boost 8, mid-cap with upside torque. Final dyno score 8.5. That makes Pendle a certified garage banger, tuned, tested, and still with NOS in the tank. And that's the teardown on Pendle. Got a project you want us to roll into the bay next? Drop it in the comments. Don't forget, check out gurucryptogarage.guru for live feeds, charts, and no BS alpha. Smash that like, hit follow, and as always, let it rip.